For generations, we have been taught a single, exhausting story. We learned that prosperity is the direct reward for relentless effort, that financial freedom must be purchased with long days and sleepless nights. Our culture preaches this gospel of grind, a faith where sweat is the only sacrament and fatigue is a badge of honor. We built our lives upon this belief, convinced that struggle was the only path to security. Yet a deeper truth whispers beneath the noise of all that striving. Money has never truly flowed from labor alone. It emerges from a state of alignment, a harmonious resonance with the fundamental currents of creation. The forces that govern abundance do not respond to your exhaustion. They answer to the vibration you emit, the quiet frequency of your most certain thoughts. A man named Wallace D. Wattles once uncovered this principle, framing it with a clarity that was often mistaken for simplicity. He revealed that you do not create wealth by performing specific actions, but by performing all actions from a specific state of being. This certain way of engaging with life is what you are now beginning to recall. Our entire society has been entranced by the illusion of toil. We glorify busyness, celebrate hustle, and wear our burnout as a crown. But this mindset conceals a profound error, the assumption that value is something external to be hunted down and captured. Observe the world with clear eyes. The most prosperous individuals are frequently not the ones laboring the longest hours. Some navigate their financial lives with a disarming ease, while others work themselves to the bone and remain trapped in scarcity. What explains this paradox? Wattles articulated what ancient wisdom has always known. Wealth is first a creation of the mind, not a product of the muscles. There exists, he proposed, a formless and intelligent energy, a creative medium from which all things are formed. Any image you hold in your awareness with conviction and thankfulness, this living substance will begin to mold into tangible experience. To the logical mind, this seems improbable, yet we see this law reflected throughout the natural world. Every acorn holds the blueprint for an oak tree. Your thoughts are the seeds of your future conditions. When your internal state resonates at the frequency of abundance, abundance must inevitably manifest through avenues both seen and unseen. Reflect on your own journey. How often have you struggled against a closed door only to find it remained shut? And how often has a path unfolded before you with surprising grace when you operated from a place of quiet confidence? That inner certainty is alignment. That is the certain way Wattles described, the seamless integration of a clear vision, steadfast faith, and purposeful action. He cautioned that the instant you release the belief that money requires struggle, you begin to co-create with the cosmos. The moment you cease forcing, the universe begins to assist. To reach this state, however, you must face a deep-seated fear, the primal anxiety that without constant struggle, everything will fall apart. Your mind will scream that you must fight harder to survive. But the reality is the inverse. The very act of fighting is what perpetuates your poverty. This is the law as he decoded it. An intelligent substance responds to the power of focused thought. A vivid mental image of prosperity impressed upon this medium triggers its materialization. Gratitude anchors you to this limitless source. Action, taken from a place of faith, provides a conduit for the formless to take form. This is the divine mechanics, the underlying physics of manifestation. When you align your thinking with conviction instead of doubt, and your endeavors with passion instead of obligation, you enter the flow of effortless wealth. Then your work is transfigured from a chore into a channel. It shifts from trying to scrape a living to allowing life to express its richness through you. Every deed performed with an awareness of plenty attracts more plenty. Every utterance charged with thankfulness amplifies your supply. Every instant lived in firm trust fortifies your connection to the infinite reservoir. You are not here to toil for your worth. You are here to broadcast the worth that you inherently are. Imagine yourself once more in that old factory of effort. But now you perceive what was always hidden in plain sight. Behind the machinery and beneath the clamor, there exists a luminous field of pure potential, a creative intelligence awaiting the command of one who thinks with authority. You understand then that the real work is not manual but mental. You cease chasing, you begin commanding. You stop pleading, you start receiving. You no longer declare, "I must work to earn," but instead, "I work to give form to the abundance that I am." That is the secret of unimpeded wealth, not a supernatural event, but a natural process, not blind belief, but conscious alignment with universal law. As we proceed into the first chapter, you will discover how this thinking substance has been orchestrating the events of your life all along, waiting for your deliberate partnership. Once you truly grasp this, money loses its power as a source of anxiety. It becomes a reflection. Because from this day forward, you will know you do not chase after money. You call it forth. Chapter 1. The living substance, the origin of all riches. Long before the concept of currency was conceived, before markets or merchants or the very notion of economy, there was something far more fundamental, a vibrant sea of consciousness that saturates the emptiness between all matter. Wattles named it the formless substance. He defined it not as a philosophical concept, but as a tangible reality, the primordial source from which all forms, precious metals, nourishing food, physical bodies, and entire planets are fashioned. Every object, every idea, every human life springs from this unseen source. He wrote, "There is one living substance, original and eternal, from which all things are made. A thought held in this substance produces the thing which is imaged by the thought." Take a breath and feel into that reality. An intelligent field envelops you at this very moment, receptive to your command. It moves with your intentions, feels your emotional state, and answers to your unwavering belief. This, not your position, not your boss, not your timesheet, is the genuine origin of wealth. Humanity lost sight of this truth when we began to idolize the physical world over the mental realm. We were trained to pursue the manifestations instead of understanding the source. We started searching for treasure in the external landscape, never recognizing that the map led inward. Wattles witnessed this in his own time, a society shackled to industry, where individuals worked from dawn till dusk, yet stayed impoverished in both wealth and well-being. He saw that manual effort could not account for the disparity between those who flourished and those who faltered. If financial success were purely a function of hard work, then the most diligent laborers would be the wealthiest people alive. Often they are not. He deduced that a more profound principle was in operation, a spiritual law of cause and effect that connects imagination to reality, frequency to form, and awareness to affluence. The cosmos, he asserted, is not a dead mechanism, but a conscious intelligence, and the mind that awakens to this reality can never again experience genuine lack. You have been conditioned to view prosperity as a finite game, to accept that another's gain is automatically your loss. This is the mindset of scarcity, the competitive thinking that Wattles identified as a fundamental error. It generates anxiety, resentment, and a sense of isolation. But the formless substance is boundless. It can never be exhausted or monopolized by any single person. It generates infinitely from its own essence. When you internalize that, your entire world transforms. Remember this: each time you feel resentment toward another's success, you are instructing the universe. Their gain is my limitation. But when you genuinely celebrate the prosperity of others, you are declaring to the cosmos that their success is merely evidence of an abundant universe, a universe that holds equal or greater fortune for you. This shift in perception is not merely philosophical. It is a fundamental energetic recalibration that dictates the entire direction of your financial life. Wattles proposed that poverty is not a circumstance imposed by the external world, but a condition of inner awareness. It is the direct outcome of thinking in opposition to the creative flow, of insisting on imagining scarcity within an infinite field of divine supply. And the moment this intelligent field receives your persistent thought of lack, it has no choice but to obediently materialize that lack into your tangible experience. You are, at this very second, enveloped by this formless, living substance, which patiently awaits your command to crystallize into your vision of wealth. The only question that truly matters is this: what definitive image are you impressing upon it with your faith? The revelation Wattles offered is both profoundly spiritual and intensely practical. He outlined a precise method for manifestation. One must first construct a clear and detailed mental picture of the desired outcome, moving beyond vague yearning into the realm of specific, deliberate creation. This vision must be held with absolute and unwavering faith, a conviction that never questions its impending reality. One must live in a constant state of gratitude, for thankfulness is the force that maintains your resonant connection to the infinite source. Finally, one must act in a certain way, with clear purpose, focused efficiency, and a joyful sense of expectation, entirely free from strain. This is the genuine alchemy of wealth creation. The unbroken sequence is undeniable: thought, faith, gratitude, action, and finally, manifestation. When you think from a state of richness, you magnetize corresponding opportunities from the unseen. When you believe without doubt, you issue a command that the substance must obey. When you act from a place of gratitude, you grant the universe the explicit permission to deliver. This is not esoteric magic. It is immutable law. It is the very same principle by which a tiny seed transforms into a mighty tree, and a simple idea evolves into a vast fortune. Your work, therefore, is not the original generator of wealth. It is merely the physical stage upon which wealth chooses to make its appearance. A wise gardener does not force his seeds to sprout through sheer effort alone. He aligns his actions with nature's inherent processes. In precisely the same manner, your primary role is not to push against reality, but to hold your mental picture with such steadfast faith that reality has no option but to conform. Consider the profound implications. The very air you breathe is saturated with this thinking substance. Every atom composing your physical form was woven from its essence. It listens intently to your spoken words. It mirrors precisely your emotional state. It builds faithfully according to your deepest beliefs. When you truly comprehend this power, you cease begging life for meager scraps and start commanding your reality with sovereign reverence. You will no longer say, "I must earn money," but instead, "I must think and act in perfect harmony with the wealth I am. This is the core of what Waddles meant by doing things in a certain way. It is not the path of frantic hustle, but the way of elevated consciousness, calm, deliberate, and profoundly creative. The truly wealthy individual is not necessarily the one who works the hardest, but the one who works in conscious cooperation with the universe's laws. As your understanding deepens, you will begin to feel a tangible shift within your being, a quiet and unshakable authority that whispers, "All supply flows effortlessly through me." In that sublime realization, your work is transfigured into something sacred, not as a burdensome obligation, but as a joyous expression of divine creation itself. In our next chapter, we will dismantle the grandest illusion of all, the belief that money is the direct child of exhaustion. You will see with perfect clarity why struggle actively repels supply, and how faith, not brute force, is the only key that unlocks the gates to lasting abundance. For once you fully grasp the nature of the thinking substance, you will never again confuse mere effort for genuine creative power. You will know with certainty that the universe does not pay you for your toil, it pays for your level of awareness. Chapter 2. The Great Labor Illusion. Why Struggle Repels Supply. Visualize the traditional worker at the break of dawn. His breath forms clouds in the chill morning air. His tools feel heavy in his calloused hands. He operates from a core belief, as most of humanity does, that the sweat upon his brow is the sole currency for his survival. He wakes, he labors, he sleeps, and then he repeats the cycle. Countless generations have lived within this same rhythm, millions of souls chained to the dogma of labor, repeating a creed etched into our collective psyche. Work harder, and you will ultimately have more. Yet the paradox remains undeniable. Some individuals work with endless dedication and remain in poverty, while others appear to attract immense abundance with seemingly minimal visible effort. What explains this contradiction? The answer is that work, as conventionally understood by society, is not the true cause of wealth. It is merely the physical echo of an internal state of consciousness. The outer world of effects simply reflect the dominant beliefs you hold within your mind. And when your foundational belief is rooted in struggle, the universe, ever obedient to your command, faithfully delivers more situations of struggle into your life. Waddles observed this phenomenon clearly during his own era. He saw factories roaring with the sound of exhausted men, fields filled with bent backs, and yet all around him he witnessed other individuals becoming wealthy with apparent minimal visible effort. He dared to voice the heresy that no industrialist would utter. It is not through hard work alone that men acquire riches, but by performing all actions in a certain, specific way. That certain way was a state of alignment, the harmonious synchronization between a clear thought, an unwavering faith, and a purposeful action. Labor that is disconnected from this foundational faith becomes mere friction. Imagine a water wheel churning violently against the current of the river. No matter how furiously it spins, it cannot generate power or make progress. This is the essence of the labor illusion. We mistake frantic motion for genuine creation. Most people tragically confuse these two forces. They spend their lives running endlessly on a treadmill, chasing what could be magnetized effortlessly if only they would cease their frantic running and begin the work of inner alignment. To struggle for money is akin to trying to grasp water with a tightly clenched fist. The more forcefully you squeeze, the less you are able to retain. This is the point where the illusion becomes truly perilous. Our modern world often glorifies exhaustion. We have created a grind culture that praises burnout as proof of dedication and worth. We wear our fatigue like medals of honor and mistakenly label it discipline. We remain entirely unaware that the very frequency of strain and desperation is the exact vibrational signal that actively repels abundance. Waddles issued a clear warning against this pervasive mindset. To believe that wealth is the direct reward of toil is to live in a fundamental error. True prosperity is the natural result of right thinking and right action, performed from a state of alignment. Recall your own personal experiences. Have you ever forced a project, pushing forward with sheer willpower and anxiety, only to watch it eventually collapse? Then contrast that with another memory, a time when everything simply clicked into place, when doors opened spontaneously and fortunate coincidences seemed to conspire in your favor. That was not random luck. That was the state of alignment. It is the universe responding directly to the quality and tone of your inner energy, not to the sheer volume of your external effort. Your deeper mind does not comprehend the concept of overwork. It only understands and responds to vibration. When your entire energy field proclaims, "I must fight for what I want," your mind translates that signal literally. You must fight. And so life obediently delivers more conflict, more resistance, and more evidence that you must continue to fight. But the very instant you affirm, "I already possess the wealth of the universe within me, I merely allow it to take form," the struggle instantly dissolves, and what once required immense force begins to flow with natural grace. Here is Waddell's powerful antidote to the great illusion of labor, the metaphysical formula for authentic creation. You must first think richly. Consciously refuse to entertain thoughts of money as distant or difficult to acquire. Every thought of hardship severs your connection to the creative flow. Replace the old mantra of "I must earn" with the new command, "I must align." You must then act calmly. Undertake your work with clear intention, never from a place of desperation. Every single action must be infused with the conscious awareness that you are a clear channel for infinite supply. Let your movements be graceful and assured, not frantic and hurried, for the infinite intelligence that orchestrates the universe never rushes. You must learn to rest in faith. After you have done all you can in the outer world, you must consciously release your grip on the outcome. Faith is the profound act of energetic surrender. It is the living proof that you trust the invisible process to complete what you have begun. Finally, you must live in a constant state of gratitude. Gratitude is the force that maintains a high vibrational frequency and keeps your connection to the source wide open. It is the native language of wealth, the heart's sincere acknowledgement that all supply is already present and on its way. Your work then becomes a sacred practice, not because of its difficulty, but because of the elevated consciousness you bring to it. Effort that is born from fear only produces exhaustion. Effort that is born from genuine faith produces limitless expansion. The critical difference lies not in what you are doing, but in who is doing it. Is it the fearful, separate self, or the aligned, sovereign self? The great illusion of labor dies forever in the moment you fully internalize this truth. You were never designed to wrestle with life. You were designed to collaborate with it in joyful co-creation. The universe remains entirely unimpressed by your struggle. It is moved solely by your coherence. Money is not seduced by your exhaustion. It is drawn irresistibly to your calm conviction. When your daily work becomes a genuine expression of faith instead of fear, the very magnetic field surrounding your life is permanently altered. You will begin to notice a cascade of synchronicities, unexpected clients arriving at your door, promotions occurring with effortless grace, and inspired ideas that feel as if they descended from a higher plane. They do not, however, originate from nowhere. They are the direct result of the thinking substance responding to the unwavering signal of your inner certainty. Wattles identified this state as acting in the certain way, a mode of being where you move through life with the profound knowing that you are not a beggar pleading with the universe, but an active and empowered participant in its ongoing creation. When you operate from this foundational awareness, even the most mundane task is imbued with the weight and power of divine energy. You cease working for the purpose of earning a living. You work for the profound purpose of expressing your inherent abundance. And authentic expression is always effortless, for it is the soul's most natural and liberated state of being. In our next chapter, we will explore the great fork in the road of human destiny, the choice between the creative and the competitive mind. This is the fundamental decision between a consciousness that struggles to acquire from a limited world and a consciousness that knows how to create from an infinite source. One mind lives in constant fear of loss and deprivation. The other lives in a sacred partnership with limitless supply. From this singular choice, from the divergence between force and flow, every great fortune or lasting failure on this earth is ultimately born. Chapter 3. The Creative versus the Competitive Mind. The Fork in Human Destiny. Two distinct mindsets navigate the landscape of human experience. One perceives life as a brutal battlefield, a finite arena of conflict and conquest. The other sees existence as a vast and blank canvas, ripe for potential for beauty and innovation. One fights desperately for every scrap of resource, operating from the core belief that the universe is inherently stingy and cruel. The other creates with effortless grace, knowing with certainty that the cosmos is alive, infinitely generous, and overflowing with possibility. These are the two fundamental minds that shape every human destiny, the competitive mind and the creative mind. Wallace D. Wattles taught that humanity's greatest error is to exist within the competitive state of consciousness, to believe that for one person to win, another must inevitably lose. He described this as a disease of the collective human psyche, and indeed, it is a profound sickness. Competition is always the child of deep-seated fear, and fear itself is the clearest signal that an individual has forgotten the primordial truth. The universe holds more than enough provision for everyone. Observe our modern world with clear eyes. Nations compete ruthlessly for global dominance. Corporations compete fiercely for market share. Individuals compete endlessly for recognition, for validation, for their very survival. And yet within this perpetual frantic chase, no one ever truly achieves a lasting victory, because the underlying vibration of competition is separation itself. This frequency broadcasts a clear message to the intelligent universe. I believe in lack and limitation, and so lack and limitation become the governing laws of that individual's lived experience. Wattles witnessed this destructive pattern even in his own century. He saw men trampling one another in factories, businesses collapsing under the weight of their own greed, and beautiful dreams dying suffocated by envy. He wrote,
The creative mind knows no competition. It creates what it desires without taking anything away from anyone else. The competitive mind can only ever imitate what already exists. The creative mind originates entirely new possibilities. The competitive mind fights for a superior position within the existing system. The creative mind expands the entire system for the benefit of all. And because the creative mind resonates at the vibration of perpetual increase, the universe rushes to multiply and amplify everything it touches. You must ask yourself a vital question. Which of these two minds currently governs your life? Do you feel genuine joy and inspiration when others succeed, or do you feel a subtle sting of personal loss? Do you perceive another's wealth as proof that abundance is available to all, or as evidence that your own share has been diminished? Every single time you feel resentment toward another's success, you are actively reinforcing the belief that success is a scarce commodity, that there is not enough room for both of you to prosper. And the very moment you accept that belief, you unconsciously withdraw from the boundless field of infinite supply and step directly into the self-constructed prison of limitation. Competition creates a state of internal tension, a subtle energetic contraction that communicates a powerful message to the thinking substance. I do not have enough. And since this intelligent substance acts as a perfect mirror for your dominant beliefs, it has no choice but to echo that state of scarcity back into your tangible experience. Waddles issued a stern warning that those who live in a competitive state cut themselves off from the true source because they are too busy fighting over the scattered fragments of what already exists to ever create something genuinely new. The creative mind, by its very nature, plays an entirely different game. It does not seek to steal from others, it seeks to conceive new value. It does not make demands from a place of lack, it receives from a place of worthiness. It does not waste energy on envy, it focuses energy on expansion. When you consciously shift from competition to creation, the universe ceases to mirror your fears and instead begins to actively amplify your most inspired ideas. So how does one practically make this shift from a competitive to a creative state of consciousness? Waddles provided clear, actionable steps. Though he never used the modern language of psychology or quantum physics, his timeless wisdom beautifully predates both fields. You must first learn to see the infinite everywhere you look. Begin by consciously replacing the ingrained idea of scarcity with the truth of endless expansion. Every grain of sand on the beach, every leaf on a tree, every star in the night sky is undeniable proof that the universe operates from a principle of overflowing abundance. The source creates in glorious excess. You must learn to do the same. You must train yourself to rejoice sincerely in the success of others. When you actively bless and celebrate the prosperity of those around you, you send a powerful signal to the universe that says, there is more than enough for me too. In that transformative moment, petty jealousy dissolves and your entire energetic frequency rises to match the vibration of abundance itself. You must make a commitment to create, never to compete. Stop asking the old question, how can I beat my rivals? Start asking the new, creative question, what unique value can I build that no one has yet imagined? Every single inspired idea that genuinely serves life will inevitably multiply your own supply. You must learn to live permanently in the consciousness of increase. Speak, act, and think in ways that cause everyone and everything around you to grow and prosper. To think increase is to consciously tune your mind to the divine heartbeat of all creation. Waddles wrote, "The creative mind is never anxious. It places its trust entirely in the infinite power that works through it. When you choose to create, you are operating as a conscious extension of the infinite, and the infinite intelligence can never, ever fail. Now, imagine the two roads that lie before you. One path leads directly into the noisy, chaotic marketplace, filled with shouting, pushing, and frantic racing for more. This is the well-trodden path of competition, loud, exhausting, and ultimately hollow. The other path is silent, luminous, and open like the dawn. This is the path of creation, still, deeply confident, and utterly unstoppable. The first path always ends in exhaustion and emptiness. The second path leads only to endless expansion and fulfillment. You alone must make the choice. The message of Waddles is timeless precisely because it is not fundamentally about business strategy or economics. It is about the elevation of human consciousness itself. The creative mind is the mind of the divine, expressing its infinite potential directly through you. And when you learn to think as the source thinks, you will never again feel the need to compete with anyone. For in that awakened state, you realize you are the source itself, in motion. As you continue to move through your life, please remember this essential principle. Whenever you choose envy, your world and your possibilities contract. Whenever you choose to bless, your world and your possibilities expand. Whenever you choose to compete, you actively block the natural flow of abundance. Whenever you choose to create, you open that flow to its maximum capacity. To create is to enter into a state of full agreement with life itself. And when you are in agreement with life, life has no choice but to agree with you. In our next chapter, we will enter the very heart of the creative process through the power of definite vision. You will discover how a single, clear mental picture, held with steadfast faith, possesses more genuine creative power than 1,000 days of relentless hard labor. For when your vision becomes truly definite, the universe has no alternative to obey its command. The key is not to work harder upon the world, it is to see your future with greater clarity from within. Chapter 4. The Power of Definite Vision. The imagination that commands reality. Every single man-made object that exists in our world first began its life as a simple picture inside someone's mind. Before the Grand Palace was ever constructed, there was first a detailed architectural plan. Before the mighty bridge spanned the river, there was a precise engineering vision. Before the vast empire rose to power, there was a thought held with such intensity and duration that it managed to call raw matter into a new and specific order. Waddles understood this creative principle so completely that he established it as the absolute cornerstone of his entire system for wealth. He instructed that you must form a clear and definite mental image of the thing that you want to create. You must hold this specific picture in your thoughts with fixed purpose and absolutely unwavering faith, and the thing you are thinking about will inevitably be brought forth into your reality. To him, imagination was not mere fantasy or idle daydreaming. It was the divine architecture of the soul.
When you think in vivid, detailed pictures and persist in holding them, you are giving the formless thinking substance its precise blueprint for creation. The universe does not respond to vague, wishful thinking or fleeting daydreams. It responds only to precision, to the definiteness of an image that is impressed upon it with genuine emotion and unwavering faith. The majority of people never truly create the lives they desire because they merely drift. Their mental pictures flicker and fade with every changing mood and external circumstance. One day they passionately desire financial freedom, and the next day they are paralyzed by the fear of it. Their internal movie keeps changing the script and the scenery, so the outer world never receives a consistent command about what to project into manifestation. Waddles observed that the average person moves through life like a ship without a chart or a compass. They're tossed aimlessly by external conditions instead of commanding those conditions through the power of their will. They pray for prosperity while simultaneously holding a dominant mental image of lack and struggle. They speak words of faith while their underlying energy vibrates with fear. They act with hope one moment and then collapse into despair the next. And then they wonder why their life feels so chaotic and inconsistent. A definite vision operates like a powerful gravitational force. It gathers the formless substance of the universe into a specific, tangible form. An indefinite and wavering mind, by contrast, only scatters its own innate creative power to the winds. Without a clear and consistent picture for it to work with, the universe has absolutely nothing to obey. Creative energy always answers to clear direction. It is repelled by confusion and contradiction. You must ask yourself a crucial question. What image do you hold most clearly and consistently in your mind? Not what you wish you thought about, but what you actually revisit and reinforce day after day, whether consciously or unconsciously. Is it a picture of abundance and freedom, or is it a picture of anxiety and the fear of failure? Every single image you repeat in your mind is a silent, powerful command issued directly to the universe. If you constantly imagine debt, struggle, or delay, the thinking substance will obediently and impersonally construct situations that match and mirror those precise pictures. This is never a personal judgment. It is simply the immutable law of creation in action. This is precisely why Waddle so urgently advised his students to see things as you want them to be, not merely as they currently appear to be. Because the mind that clings to existing appearances only succeeds in recreating those same appearances indefinitely. Only a definite vision, sustained with emotional power, possesses the strength to overrule the powerful momentum of your past experiences. Your outer life is nothing more than a perfect mirror of your dominant internal image. Change the internal picture, and your external reality will inevitably begin to rearrange itself around that new blueprint. Here is the essential practice of spiritual mastery, the sacred art of wielding definite vision. You must consciously withdraw on a daily basis from the chaos of external appearances. Take dedicated time each day to enter into a state of inner silence, a place where the noise of your current circumstances cannot reach you. It is in that profound stillness that your imagination becomes pure and potent. Within that stillness, you must form a single, vivid mental picture of your desired reality. Describe it to yourself in your mind until every sensory detail feels tangibly real. The environment, the physical sensations, the profound feeling of gratitude that comes from already possessing it. It is this authentic emotion that imprints the image onto the universal substance like a searing brand on soft wax. You must hold this picture with faith, not with anxious tension. True faith is a state of relaxed and absolute conviction, not a state of clenched, forceful will. The clearer and, paradoxically, the calmer your certainty becomes, the faster the intelligent substance can organize itself to manifest your vision. You must ask yourself a crucial question. What image do I hold most clearly and consistently in my mind? Not what you wish you thought about, but what you actually revisit and reinforce day after day, whether consciously or unconsciously. Is it a picture of abundance and freedom, or is it a picture of anxiety and the fear of failure? Every single image you repeat in your mind is a silent, powerful command issued directly to the universe. If you constantly imagine debt, struggle, or delay, the thinking substance will obediently and impersonally construct situations that match and mirror those precise pictures. This is never a personal judgment. It is simply the immutable law of creation in action. This is precisely why Waddell so urgently advised his students to see things as you want them to be, not merely as they currently appear to be. Because the mind that clings to existing appearances only succeeds in recreating those same appearances indefinitely. Only a definite vision, sustained with emotional power, possesses the strength to overrule the powerful momentum of your past experiences. Your outer life is nothing more than a perfect mirror of your dominant internal image. Change the internal picture, and your external reality will inevitably begin to rearrange itself around that new blueprint. Here is the essential practice of spiritual mastery, the sacred art of wielding definite vision. You must consciously withdraw on a daily basis from the chaos of external appearances. Take dedicated time each day to enter into a state of inner silence, a place where the noise of your current circumstances cannot reach you. It is in that profound stillness that your imagination becomes pure and potent. Within that stillness, you must form a single, vivid mental picture of your desired reality. Describe it to yourself in your mind until every sensory detail feels tangibly real. The environment, the physical sensations, the profound feeling of gratitude that comes from already possessing it. It is this authentic emotion that imprints the image onto the universal substance like a searing brand on soft wax. You must hold this picture with faith, not with anxious tension. True faith is a state of relaxed and absolute conviction, not a state of clenched, forceful will. The clearer and, paradoxically, the calmer your certainty becomes, the faster the intelligent substance can organize itself to manifest your vision. You must ask yourself a crucial question. What image do I hold most clearly and consistently in my mind? Not what you wish you thought about, but what you actually revisit and reinforce day after day, whether consciously or unconsciously. Is it a picture of abundance and freedom, or is it a picture of anxiety and the fear of failure? Every single image you repeat in your mind is a silent, powerful command issued directly to the universe. If you constantly imagine debt, struggle, or delay, the thinking substance will obediently and impersonally construct situations that match and mirror those precise pictures. This is never a personal judgment. It is simply the immutable law of creation in action. This is precisely why Waddell so urgently advised his students to see things as you want them to be, not merely as they currently appear to be. Because the mind that clings to existing appearances only succeeds in recreating those same appearances indefinitely. Only a definite vision, sustained with emotional power, possesses the strength to overrule the powerful momentum of your past experiences. Your outer life is nothing more than a perfect mirror of your dominant internal image. Change the internal picture, and your external reality will inevitably begin to rearrange itself around that new blueprint. Here is the essential practice of spiritual mastery, the sacred art of wielding definite vision. You must consciously withdraw on a daily basis from the chaos of external appearances. Take dedicated time each day to enter into a state of inner silence, a place where the noise of your current circumstances cannot reach you. It is in that profound stillness that your imagination becomes pure and potent. Within that stillness, you must form a single, vivid mental picture of your desired reality. Describe it to yourself in your mind until every sensory detail feels tangibly real. The environment, the physical sensations, the profound feeling of gratitude that comes from already possessing it. It is this authentic emotion that imprints the image onto the universal substance like a searing brand on soft wax. You must hold this picture with faith, not with anxious tension. True faith is a state of relaxed and absolute conviction, not a state of clenched, forceful will. The clearer and, paradoxically, the calmer your certainty becomes, the faster the intelligent substance can organize itself to manifest your vision. You must make a vow to refuse contradictory thoughts. Every single time a thought of doubt or fear arises in your mind, you must consciously return to your definite picture and feel its reality all over again. Doubt is the only vibration strong enough to erase what your faith has so carefully drawn. Finally, you must act in clear harmony with your vision. Let your daily actions naturally reflect the new reality you have already accepted as true within your inner world. The universe will always meet you halfway, orchestrating circumstances, intuitive nudges, and perfect timing to assist you. Wattles beautifully compared this entire process to a master artist patiently molding a form from clay. Each thought you think is another deliberate touch of the artist's hand. Each wave of genuine emotion adds more definition and shape to the form. And heartfelt gratitude acts as the kiln that fires the finished sculpture into a state of permanent reality. Please consider this profound truth. The wealthiest person you can possibly imagine, the greatest inventor, the most profound mystic, the builder of entire civilizations, they all used the same invisible tool that you possess at this very moment. Their outer worldly achievements were simply the physical reflections of their inner constancy of vision. The universe is not ultimately moved by your struggle, your formal education, or your family lineage. It is moved solely by the image you hold, clear, consistent, and unwavering in your mind. Your definiteness of vision is your ultimate destiny. When you consciously choose a single picture of your future and refuse to let it go, the formless substance of the universe begins to crystallize around it. Events in your life begin to reorganize themselves. The right people mysteriously appear at the perfect time. Seemingly random coincidences align to support your goal. All of this occurs for one simple reason. Physical reality must ultimately obey the mind that knows with certainty what it wants. To live your life without a definite vision is to live as a mere echo of other people's desires and expectations. To hold a definite vision with faith and gratitude is to live your life as a genuine creator of your own destiny. The quiet, powerful instruction from Wallace D. Wattles still rings true across the decades. Think continually of what you truly want. Do not waste a single mental moment on what you do not want. To act in a certain way is to operate as the infinite intelligence itself operates, calmly, precisely, and entirely without any fear of loss or doubt of result. This is not a matter of physical effort, it is a matter of spiritual essence. You move not to force something to happen, but to gracefully express what is already happening through your unique being. When you act from this elevated consciousness, your simplest deeds carry immense creative power. They ripple outward into the world like waves that never lose their energy, and reality itself begins to reorganize around your unwavering conviction. Most individuals, by contrast, act from a place of deep confusion, rushing and reacting from a fear that they might somehow miss their one chance. Their actions are frantic, born from underlying uncertainty, and are therefore barren of any genuine creative force. Wattles observed that the very fear of failure is what actively manufactures failure. When you act from a place of worry, the fundamental energy of your work becomes distorted, its vibration hopelessly tangled with doubt. This is akin to trying to plant precious seeds while you are simultaneously trampling the very soil they need to grow. This is the precise reason so many people labor endlessly without making any real progress. Their hands may be moving, but their hearts are hesitating. Their words carry the weight of effort, not the lightness of faith. And the universe, ever a perfect mirror, responds in kind, with scattered results, unstable income, and deeply inconsistent opportunities. Action alone does not create. Only conscious, aligned action possesses that power. To act in a certain way is to beautifully combine your clear vision, your unwavering faith, and your profound gratitude into purposeful motion. Every single gesture then becomes a sacred act. Every step you take is inwardly guided. Think back to the last time you took a major action from a place of pure fear. Remember the palpable tension, the spiritual exhaustion, and the quiet internal whisper that warned, if I stop pushing, everything will completely collapse. That stressful state was not true creation. That was mere survival. And a survival-based mode of being actively blocks all spiritual circulation. Now remember a different time, when you moved with natural confidence, when inspiration struck effortlessly, and when the right words flowed freely, and when doors opened as if by magic. That profound ease was not a random accident. It was the state of perfect alignment. Wattles taught that the individual who acts from genuine faith never worries about results because he already knows the outcome in his soul. The energy he sends forth into the world carries the vibration of certainty, and certainty is utterly irresistible to the universe. Action that is taken from this aligned state carries more creative power than years of labor performed without conviction. For universal law responds not to mere motion, but to the meaning behind it. Here is the essential practice of acting in a certain way, the precise method Wattles intended when he wrote that by thought you make the thing, and by action you receive it. You must act from where you are right now, not from where you someday wish to be. Do not wait for perfect conditions to magically appear. The infinite intelligence always begins its work here and now. Whatever situation lies directly before you is the exact raw material through which your vision will express itself into the world. You must learn to act with calm efficiency. Move through your day deliberately, as if your success were already guaranteed, because from a metaphysical standpoint, it truly is. Each single action you perform with deep composure carries more creative power than 1,000 actions done in a state of high anxiety. Let every action you take be a clear expression of your faith. Infuse your tone of voice, your body posture, and every spoken word with a quiet, unshakable assurance. The intelligent field surrounding you faithfully records that specific vibration and multiplies it back to you in ways you cannot possibly predict. Perform every single act as a complete and whole act. Wattles instructed, put the whole power of your mind and will into each act. Treat every task, however small or mundane it may seem, as a form of sacred service. This intensity of conscious presence is what bridges the invisible world of spirit and the visible world of form. You must learn to detach completely from the physical result. Once the aligned action is done, you must release it fully into the hands of the infinite. The divine intelligence completes what you have faithfully begun. Your worry is merely interference. Your rest is active faith. When you learn to move through life in this manner, the very quality of your personal energy shifts dramatically. Other people can feel this shift intuitively.
Opportunities quietly rearrange themselves to meet you. Even chaos itself begins to organize around the power of your conviction. Because when you act in a certain way, you become a living, breathing expression of divine order itself. To act in a certain way is to work as the entire universe works, without hesitation, without doubt, and without any unnecessary hurry. It is the profound stillness of absolute power in graceful motion. Waddles beautifully compared this state to the natural growing of a seed. The seed does not lie awake at night wondering if it will sprout. It simply rests and responds to the natural laws that govern its existence. And those creative laws never, ever fail. So must you learn to act not as a struggler desperately reaching upward, but as a creator peacefully unfolding outward. Every single task you perform with faith actively strengthens your magnetic field. Every moment of doubt you entertain passively weakens it. Therefore, you must choose to live each day as though your success were an inevitable fact, because to the infinite intelligence within you, it already is. The individual who acts from this consciousness becomes truly unstoppable, not because he is aggressive or forceful, but simply because he is certain. He is the calm, still center within all motion. He is the point through which the universe expresses perfect order into apparent chaos. When your thoughts are perfectly aligned with spiritual truth and your actions flow naturally from a place of inner peace, you cannot possibly fail. Failure can only exist where conscious doubt remains. You must act now. You must act faithfully. You must act as the infinite itself acts, with majesty, with purpose, and with deep serenity. For when you do, the entire universe has no choice but to move with you. In our final chapter, we will witness what happens when all these universal laws, thought, faith, gratitude, and action, converge into a single, perfect harmony. You will learn how genuine wealth begins to move toward you as naturally as a river finds its way to the sea. Because the universe cannot resist one who has become its own pure reflection. There is no more trying, only a state of allowing. Chapter 8. The Effortless Stream of Supply, when the universe works through you. There arrives a pivotal point upon this path where you cease chasing the divine current. You consciously become the current itself. What once felt like exhausting effort now feels like a natural, flowing rhythm. What once demanded immense force now unfolds with effortless grace. This is the profound moment when money, opportunity, and favorable circumstances begin to move toward you as inevitably as rivers seek the ocean. Not because you are suddenly lucky, not because you have finally worked hard enough, but because you have entered into a state of perfect alignment with the great circulation, the endless motion of divine supply. Wallace D. Wattles identified this state as living in the certain way. He proclaimed that you can become genuinely rich without robbing or taking away from any other soul, and by doing so, you become a clear channel through which the universe increases life for everyone. When you reach this core realization, wealth ceases to be something you must painfully earn. It becomes something that moves freely through you, blessing everything and everyone it touches. Most people never experience this effortless flow because they still hold the belief that they are separate from their supply. They imagine themselves as beggars standing before an indifferent universe, pleading for what they already inherently contain within their own consciousness. They cling tightly to money, they fear its loss, they compete for mere scraps, and they pray for external miracles while simultaneously rejecting the greatest miracle of all, their own creative consciousness. They dam the river of abundance with their own anxiety, and then mistakenly call the resulting drought their reality. But the universe itself knows no droughts, only self-imposed blockages of limiting belief. Wealth is not a finite reservoir to be earned and then guarded with fear. It is a living river that must continuously circulate. The very moment you begin to hoard from a place of fear, the divine current stagnates around you. The moment you choose to give from a place of faith, it accelerates exponentially. This is the beautiful paradox of the divine economy. The less you cling, the more you naturally attract. The more you willingly give, the more you magically overflow. Look honestly at your own relationship with money. When it enters your life, do you breathe a sigh of relief, or do you tighten with a hidden fear? Do you see it as evidence of your security or as proof of how easily it could all vanish? Whatever primary emotion you consistently attach to money becomes the governing frequency that dictates its behavior within your life. Gratitude lovingly invites it to stay and multiply. Fear violently drives it away. Waddles wrote that no man can be truly rich who possesses a poor mind. He meant not a mind empty of cash, but a mind that is full of worry and lack. Because worry vibrates at the frequency of scarcity, and scarcity actively repels supply. Your primary spiritual task, therefore, is not to chase after wealth, but to stabilize your inner vibration so that wealth can circulate freely through your being. You are the riverbed. Money is only the water flowing through it. When your inner channel is open, cleansed of fear, and perfectly aligned in faith, the external flow becomes constant and effortless. To live permanently in the effortless stream of supply, you must learn to see money as pure energy, not as inert matter. It is the visible form of an invisible, intelligent movement. You must treat it with reverence, but never with anxious attachment. It comes and it goes in perfect accordance with your own inner flow. You must keep the circulation of life alive. Give freely and generously, not as a loss, but as a conscious participation in the universal rhythm. Every single act of generosity you perform expands your own capacity to receive more. The moment you let money move through you, you are offering tangible proof of your trust in the infinite source. You must anchor every action you take in a deep inner peace. The infinite intelligence never acts in a state of panic. When you move from a place of calm assurance, your personal energy field broadcasts stability, attracting resources and opportunities that mirror your own inner stillness. You must learn to receive without any guilt. Many people unconsciously repel abundance by feeling fundamentally unworthy of it. But divine creation cannot bless a vessel that refuses to open itself. Receive every blessing with pure joy, for joy is the energy that keeps the divine current pure and powerful. You must choose to live as a conscious instrument of increase. Let every person, every place, and every project you touch expand and improve through your presence. You are the conduit through which the universe multiplies its own goodness. To increase life for others is to spiritually ensure that life increases for you. When you master these core principles, money becomes a simple byproduct of something far greater, your own vibrational coherence with divine order. You are no longer working for wealth. Authentic wealth is now working for you. Imagine yourself standing peacefully beside a vast, limitless ocean. Each wave that breaks upon the shore represents a form of supply, a new idea, a golden opportunity, a steady flow of abundance. Yet none of it belongs to you in an exclusive sense. It all moves through your consciousness, not merely to you. Your only task is to remain open, rhythmic, and profoundly grateful. In that state of conscious openness, you become a favorite instrument of the infinite. You stop asking the old question, how can I get more? And you begin asking the new, empowered question, How can I let more life flow through my being? How can I let more divine good circulate to others through my words and my works? And as you sincerely ask that question, the universe answers you with more to give, more to share, and more to live, because its fundamental law is perfect. To the one who consciously circulates, increase is not just possible, it is utterly inevitable. When you live in the effortless stream of supply, there is no more fear of lack, no anxiety about timing, and no guilt about your own success. You realize the ultimate truth that money is not earned through toil, it is expressed through being. You are not a laborer, you are a channel, and through that open channel flows the limitless abundance of the infinite itself. Breathe this truth in. Feel this abundance move through your very cells. That conscious feeling is true wealth. Not the coin itself, but the current it represents. Not the mere possession, but your participation in the divine flow. And so we arrive where all genuine journeys of consciousness must end, in a state of effortless awareness. The river of abundance no longer needs to be desperately found. It was always flowing right here, within you. You have simply remembered how to flow in harmony with it. In the epilogue, we will close this series where it all began, with the ultimate revelation that money is only the shadow of something infinitely greater. It is the radiance of divine life itself, expressing through your own awakened consciousness. You will see with final clarity that the richest human being is not the one who has accumulated the most, but the one who moves with the source in a state of perfect trust. Epilogue: the true currency. The great secret is simple, and yet it has taken lifetimes for humanity to remember. You were never truly chasing money. You were always chasing a deeper meaning. All the gold, all the effort, all the striving, they were always just symbols, never the actual substance. They were mere reflections of something far deeper, which your soul has always known. That true value does not live in external things, but in the quality of your own being. When Waddles wrote that the sole purpose of life is the advancement and increase of life, he was accurately describing the real currency of the universe. It is not money, it is expanded awareness. Money is merely one of the countless forms that awareness takes when it is allowed to flow freely through a conscious mind. The true currency of the cosmos is life itself, moving through you and expressing itself as you. When you finally understand this, you stop serving money and you start serving life. And then, as a natural consequence, money begins to serve you. Humanity has chronically mistaken the symbols for the source. We collect pieces of paper and digits on screens, and we call this activity wealth. We measure our worth by mere accumulation rather than by our spiritual expansion. And so we have foolishly built a global economy based on fear, a world that is obsessed with earning a living rather than with expressing life. This grand illusion is precisely what Waddle sought to dismantle with his work. He saw clearly that man's endless striving had blinded him to the fundamental law of being. He wrote, "The very best thing you can do for the whole world is to make the most of yourself." To make the most of yourself means to allow more of the infinite intelligence to flow through your mind, your hands, and your loving heart. When you do that consistently, increase happens automatically in money, in inner peace, and in life purpose. But when you resist that divine flow through greed, worry, or guilt, the current inevitably slows. You feel poor, not because the universal supply has vanished, but because you have unconsciously stepped out of its natural rhythm. Ask yourself gently now, why do you truly want money? Beneath the surface answers of security, freedom, and comfort, there always exists a deeper, soul-level desire to feel fully alive without any fear. That feeling of aliveness is not a product of what you possess. It is the natural, fearless state of the soul when it remembers its eternal source. Money was never the true goal. It was always just a mirror, faithfully reflecting your core beliefs about your creative power. When you feared lack, money fled from your experience. When you trusted life, money followed you effortlessly. When you tried to prove your worth through labor alone, you felt spiritually weary. When you acted from a place of faith, doors opened for you by themselves. The ultimate lesson was never about working harder in the physical world. It was about remembering that you were already connected to everything you sought to earn. You are not separate from the source of all supply. You are its living expression. And to the precise degree that you live as that expression, abundance has no choice but to appear in your life. Here is the final distilled teaching of Wallace Wattles, offered as a living practice for your life. Think creatively, never competitively. See all of life as infinite. See yourself as a co-creator, and see every other soul as part of the same divine circulation. This understanding alone will dissolve envy, scarcity, and fear. Hold faith as your only substance. Believe not in distant outcomes, but in the unseen presence that is already forming them in the invisible. Speak, act, and rest from that place of deep knowing. Give gratitude a constant voice. Thank everything in your life, even the delays, even the difficult lessons. Gratitude is the spiritual force that keeps you attuned to abundance when outer appearances suggest the very opposite.
Act always in a certain way. Let your daily work be the quiet, living proof of your faith. Move through your world without hurry. Speak your truth without doubt. And treat every single action as a sacred transaction between the infinite and the world of form. Consciously circulate life. Wherever you choose to go, leave increase in your wake. Give more energy, more clarity, more kindness, and more beauty than you take. This is the divine economy in action, and within its perfect laws, your own return is guaranteed. When you learn to live in this manner, money no longer feels separate from your spirit. It becomes a simple instrument, a way for the infinite to serve itself through your unique being. And that conscious knowing is the highest prosperity of all. To know with certainty that what you receive for the sacred sake of giving more. Stand completely still now. Breathe deeply. Feel the steady pulse within your own heart. That unwavering rhythm of life itself is the one true currency. It circulates within you without any end, needing no mint, no external measure, and no one's permission. It is a wealth that exists beyond all numbers. It is the very breath of God moving through the form called you. Money is only its shadow. When you spend your life chasing the shadow, you are condemned to labor. When you choose to honor the inner light, the shadow follows you everywhere, effortlessly. The wisdom of Wattles lives eternally here, in this sacred remembrance, that you do not earn by striving, but by being, that your worth was divinely settled before you were ever born, that the source expresses itself through your consciousness, and its only language is perpetual increase. So go forth into your world now, not as a desperate seeker, but as a conscious sower. Plant ideas of beauty, joy, peace, and watch the field of your life multiply beyond any need for effort. Because in the ultimate divine economy, the only true wealth is the consciousness that gives more life. And when you finally become that consciousness, radiant, generous, and certain, the entire universe bends around you in perfect recognition and whispers softly, "You finally understand." The current moves, the river flows, and all that you once struggled to earn begins to arrive in your life quietly, faithfully, and inevitably as the perfect reflection of who you have chosen to become. It is summoned by your consciousness. It flows through your gratitude. It obeys your faith, and it moves wherever increase is served. You are not here to merely earn a living. You are here to give life. And in doing so, you will discover the greatest prosperity of all, the profound peace of knowing that everything which belongs to you is already yours and always has been. And now, as the great current of divine supply continues to move through you, Feel the quiet certainty settle into your bones. You are no longer a seeker of wealth. You are its living doorway. Every breath you take from this moment forward is an invitation for the infinite to express more life, more beauty, more abundance through the miracle of you. Carry this remembrance like a hidden flame and watch the world rearrange itself in recognition. If this transmission has awakened something ancient within you, help carry the torch further. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so the next soul ready to step out of struggle and into the effortless stream will find this light through you. Drop a comment below and tell us which gateway stirred you most. Your words become seeds for the next revelation. Together, we rise. Thank you for watching.